What's up, NFL fans? I just finished watching Week 5, Cowboys at New York. Let's just jump right into it. Another loss, final score of 22-37, and that score is a lie. This was like one of the big games. It was like broadcast in most of the country, so a lot of people were watching this game. I mean, that's going to happen whenever you play the Cowboys, but this was not like, it wasn't a prime time game or anything like that, but this was one of the bigger games in the 1 o'clock field. Not necessarily because the talent of the teams playing, but because New York giant market and then Cowboys obviously giant market. But yeah, this record of 0-5, it sucks, but also it's important to remember that this is not unexpected. I predicted this record. The Jets have a super hard schedule. The Cowboys were coming off of their 40-40 tie, so they had a lot to prove and were feeling explosive. And, well, we were coming off losing to the Dolphins, so not as explosive, I suppose. If you look at the offensive numbers, the numbers look pretty good. Justin Fields, 283 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, a bunch of rushing yards. Breece Hall over 100 rushing yards. Garrett Wilson, a touchdown. The numbers look really good. I will say the offensive line, which I have been praising for most of my videos, I think looked really bad in this game. And these numbers, so that's important to keep in mind. But these numbers do look good, and it was two things to keep in mind. One, it was against a bad defense, and two, and most importantly, these were all garbage time numbers, I would say. We were out of the game ever since we fumbled that ball. And yeah, these are all garbage time numbers, and I think the Cowboys gave up because they knew that they won. And it's just like, why can't you do this earlier? If they were scoring points like they were in the fourth quarter and the first quarter, then it would be a super competitive game against, I think, a good team. So it's just annoying to see that the Jets are doing all this stuff in the fourth quarter when you're already down 50,000 points. So that's just annoying. So I think the numbers, like it is with the score, the numbers were a lie here and with the score. And going to the defense, I mean, the big story is the Jets haven't gotten a single takeaway since the season started. So that's really bad. Apparently, we're the first 0-5 team to go 0-5 and not have a single takeaway. So that's annoying. And yeah, the Cowboys are a good offense, but they're not. They're injured, 1, and 2. This is supposed to be a good defense, and just what happened? This was a top 10 defense last year, and now we're probably one of the worst defenses. And I think some of the fans are going to start asking about, do we start selling during trades? Like, do we start selling our big names? Quinnen Williams has been one, right? He's slightly older than some of the other guys like Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. He's on a big contract. Do we get rid of him? My hope is not. I don't think trying to lose a bunch of games and getting rid of high talent players is a way to win. But I also can't tell you how I would fix this team because, like, if you look at the offensive numbers are good. Defensive numbers, not super good, but there isn't a whole lot of change from this year to last year. And last year, a top 10 defense. So it's just that might be something that ownership and management want to do, where it's like, let's rebuild. We're going to sell a bunch of our players. And as a fan, I think that would suck. And thinking strategically, I also don't think that's the way to go. Just getting rid of players just because you're not going to win anything this year doesn't mean they can't be useful next year. But that is a conversation that I think is being had right now as we speak. And typically here I'd have my picture of Aaron Glenn and talk about all the bad things Aaron Glenn did. But I'm going to try to be hopeful now. We're 0-5. And the reason I have Dan Campbell up here is because Dan Campbell, who I think ask any NFL fans would say is like a top 10 coach in the NFL right now. He started out 0-8, and they were they finished the season like 3-13-1 or something. In his first year as head coach of the Lions, and so that's the only thing giving me hope. Aaron Glenn started 0-5 his first year as a head coach. there's already people saying fire him, fire him, fire him. Shoot, I might not be that mad if we fire him. But if the Lions fired Dan Campbell after going 0-5, then they wouldn't be the Lions we know right now. So that's one image of hope. Dan Campbell, super rough first season, but he built up a culture. Like actually, and culture is such a buzzword. He actually rebuilt the Lions culture and set them up for success. So who's to say that doesn't happen with us? And also, even if the Jets trade away some fan favorite players, the Lions did the exact same thing. They traded away TJ Hawkinson, who was like their star tight end. They traded him away, and the Lions were able to rebuild. And it hurt at the moment, but they're now, Super Bowl contenders. So just because Aaron Glenn is 0-5 doesn't mean there isn't a precedent of turning that around from his mentor. And then I want to look at the schedule because I think it's important to remember, I'm not praising myself. If you look at the schedule, going 0-5 is not a crazy prediction. Lose to the Steelers, lose to the Bills, lose to the Bucks, lose to the Dolphins, lose to the Cowboys. I mean, everyone in there except for the Dolphins are playoff contenders. So that's not going 0-5 against 4 playoff contenders and then a divisional rival away in an away game is not a crazy thing. We play the Broncos next in London. And I think I predicted us to win. But the more confident game is the Panthers, which hopefully if we lose that game and we're 0-7, well, I don't know. I mean, we could go 0-17, honestly, if that's the case. If we're 0-7, like who's easier than the Panthers on the schedule? Maybe the Saints and the Jaguars? I don't know. Hopefully we at least either beat the Broncos or Panthers. But yeah, just another 0-5 loss. And, it's in the moment it really sucks. But let's not forget a month ago, I predicted this, so I shouldn't be that surprised. And let's also not forget that just because you go 0-5 to start doesn't mean you can't turn things around, as Aaron Glenn's mentor did that exact thing. So I don't know, trying to be optimistic because I've been super negative these past couple of videos because this is I root for the Jets. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye.